Okay, today's going to be a very unpopular video, so just if you have sensitive feelings, you might as well downvote now. So this video is going to be about getting out of debt. And there's a lot of people out there that have different opinions about how to get out of debt. My opinion comes from the method I use to get out of debt. So I'm going to tell you it today, and it's free. And you can take it or leave it. So, as you see here, we have some steps. I'm not going to tell you all the steps right away. We'll just tell them one at a time. The first step is going to be stop blaming. Don't blame anybody but yourself. I know that's in this world we live in. Nobody wants to accept accountability. But stop blaming people for what position you're in, okay? Don't blame your auntie. Don't blame your sister, your brother, your mom, your daddy. Don't blame your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your he, they, them, helicopter, whatever the hell they identify as. Stop blaming other people. Accept that you are the reason you're in the situation you're in. I promise you will be happier and healthier if you take accountability for the situation that you're in. And don't get me wrong. There are people that can influence you. There are people that can do you wrong. There are people that can mess you up and cause the entire 10 years of your life to be harder for you. And you just got to block that out. Block that out. Same thing happened to me. I was in a relationship. The person got me into a ton of debt. I allowed the debt to happen, and I had to dig myself out. I won't go into the full details of that situation, but I've been there, okay? I was up shit creek without a paddle. And what I want to do is help somebody get out of that situation because it is a terrible place to live in. So stop blaming other people and focus on yourself. Focus on yourself and strengthening your understanding of your actions. Understand why you make the actions you make. Understand the chemistry of your brain and what makes you do things. So if you are depressed, do you buy stuff? Do you order a bunch of food and pig out? What is going on inside of you? Figure out what you need inside of you. Okay? This is like self-therapy. I'm a tough type of guy when it comes to this kind of thing. Like I say stuff like, do you need me to build you a bridge so you can get over this shit? I understand I am not the touchy-feely type of therapist person you want to hear from, but my theory and my way of doing things helped me. And it made me tougher. It made me not put up with a bunch of bullshit. And it helped me find someone like-minded like myself, my wife, and I was able at a point of my life to offer something of value to her because I had been through the struggle and I had accepted accountability for my actions, and she saw value in me. This is something you can do because you can strengthen yourself and get yourself to a point where you can have better relationships in the future. You know, some people are stuck in this, it's like a cave, a dark cave, and you feel like no one can get in and you can't get out and you can't communicate with people. But when you realize that you're the reason you're in that cave and you can claw your way out, and there might even be a diamond pickaxe in there, this could be a win. This could be a benefit to you for having all the struggle you went through. It was for me. So stop blaming other people. Focus on yourself. The next step is no. Okay? No. That just means no. That means when somebody comes to you and says, hey, you want to go out for drinks? No. You're shoring up your budget. You're shoring up your future. You're taking control of the reins of your future. So you have to have discipline And this is a very hard step. Don't get me wrong. It took me years to master this, but get to the point where you can say, no, I don't need that. I don't want that. I don't want to spend money on that, because I get more pleasure. I get more value out of taking that money that I was going to spend on drinks, which you shouldn't drink anyway. I need to make a video about alcoholism in the future, but don't drink, don't smoke. You save so much money by not drinking and not smoking. I was a drinker. I was a smoker. Let me tell you, I've saved thousands and thousands of dollars by saying, no, I'm done. So you take that money, you put it in your bank account. You've said no. You have discipline. You don't touch it. What do you do when you said no? Well, you have to have a job. Okay? A job. And this is for all walks of life. So if this doesn't include you in this step, disregard. But there's still valuable information here. If you have a job, it doesn't pay enough. You need to have another job. I worked 3 jobs to get myself out of debt. And I would do side hustles and all types of things, selling on Facebook Marketplace, whatever I had to do. Work your butt off and stack cash. Why are we stacking cash? Because if you have lots of debt, you have to be able to pay it off. So you are saying no to your friends. I know that sucks. You're saying no to expensive things. I know that sucks, because everybody likes to buy stuff for themselves and have treats, but we can't do that. We're in debt. We have jobs. If we don't make enough from our single job, and we're talking DoorDash, we're talking Uber Eats, we're talking data entry over the internet. That is a great job to have. I did that for many years. Just work the hours, depending on the company you're working for, but you can work the hours you want to, and as long as you're active at the computer typing, you're getting credit. You can even watch Netflix and crap. You can listen to music. You can make your normal evening event profitable for yourself. And it just puts you in this mindset of grinding this out, It's so empowering when you start digging yourself out. And it's more validating than ever spending the money you were before, or, going out with friends and doing, stuff you shouldn't be doing. So we're working hard. We're making as much money as we can. We're saving as much money as we can. We want to save up $10K. Okay? $10K. That goes into savings. We save that. We don't touch. Ever. Don't ever touch this, because it is going to be an emergency fund. If you have $10,000 in an emergency fund, I shouldn't say don't touch it ever. I'm saying in the event of an emergency, you can touch it. But you need $10,000, because that will cover repairing a car. It'll cover a big medical bill. And we just got to pray to God that this doesn't happen back to back. But keep yourself healthy. After you're saving your $10K, start adding some numbers on here. Health. And this can also tie into the no. Which means no fast food. No fast food. You can save so much money by just not going to get fast food. I did the math. All right, so when I was acting like a total idiot, I was spending about $15 a meal at fast food twice a day. $30 a day. And I was doing that 5 days a week. $150 a week. And I did that for a whole year. 52 weeks. Almost $8,000 in savings. $8,000 looks very close to that emergency fund, doesn't it? And that's not having to work any harder. That's just simply saving. Okay? Saving your money and not going out to eat. For one thing, you're going to be healthier. You're going to be happier. Because you haven't had that fast food in your body making you feel like trash. So not only are you happier because you have more money in your bank account, but you're happier because you're not as heavy as you were. And debt and alcoholism and weight gain and stress and depression and anxiety are all in the same ball of chaos. So cut out fast food. And you might have more than this. I was pretty conservative. I mean, I wasn't spending that much every single day, but I would spend sometimes on the weekend. So it kind of averages out about $8,000 a year. So then we come out here. No drinking. No drinking. I was spending about $30 in beer every 2 days. Yeah, I was an alcoholic. 30 times 2, I wouldn't drink on the weekends because my wife would have a fit. This really wasn't a debt thing. This was kind of like my last step of my health situation. So about every 2 days, I was spending $60 in beer. And we're not talking cheap beer. We're talking expensive beer. I was drinking whatever top shelf, like high proof stuff, high alcohol content. $60. Let's just say $60 a week. Well, that'll make it easier. $60 a week, 52. That's another $3,000. So that puts us above our 10K savings just by stopping drinking, stopping fast food. Then I would dip and smoke. Dip and smoke. I was a massive user of nicotine. I was going through about a can a day. Some of that stuff's like $5 a can times 5 days. That's $25 a week. Times 52, that's another $1,300. Plus my smoking habits, I would buy expensive cigars, usually at around $400 bulk buys. I did that about 3 times a year. $2,500. So now we're in the neighborhood of $15,000 of savings. No drinking, no fast food, no smoking, no dipping. That improves your health. And that just comes from saying no. That's why 5 and 2 kind of correlate together. Okay? So now we're at a point where we can save 10K by just working and not spending. And then another part of our health is multivitamin. I'm just going to abbreviate. Multivitamin, because you're going to be eating ramen. And PBJ. You're going to need a multivitamin to keep yourself healthy. Because I adopted a strict, very inexpensive way of keeping myself sustained. I ate ramen noodles and PBJ every single day for about 10 years. 8 to 10 years. And then for protein, I went to Save a Lot. Save a Lot meat. chicken, beef, pork. And I would put that into my ramen, and that's how I would spice my food. Save-A-Lot meat, ramen, PBJ, multivitamin. That gets your budget. I mean, you can cut your budget razor thin. You're spending a couple $100 every month on food. Then jog outside. Walk, jog. If you have a bike, ride your bike. Exercise. Because you need to get your health in order. When you have a healthy body, your mind will follow. Walk, jog, ride your bike. Don't go to the gym. Don't spend money on a gym unless you absolutely have to. I know a lot of people love gyms and they think they're cheap and whatever. But I noticed that there's a lot of people that spend money on a gym and never go. And if you just go outside and walk and jog, it's free. If you live in a metropolitan area, you can get around pretty safely at like walking parks and that kind of thing, jogging parks. If you live out in the country, just be careful because people drive like crazy and you can get run over. Okay, so we have money saved up. We're healthy. We have jobs. We are telling people no. We are not blaming other people. We have taken accountability for our life, and we have enough to survive if something terrible happens. We're tired, but we're proud of what we've accomplished so far. Now we need to pay this debt. I can't. Man, this is hard. I don't know how people write with a mouse. Pay the debt. We got to pay that debt down. That looks really terrible. I'm going to erase that. I can't let that stand. Pay the debt. If you're being garnished, you need to call and set up payment. Set up a payment plan. As little as they will allow you. The smallest amount. The smallest amount of money you can pay, so you can afford. If it's $5, if they will allow you to do $5, do $5. If they allow you to do 10, do 10, 20, whatever it takes. As long as you are paying towards whatever you owe, they can't garnish your shit. And you can stretch this out for as long as you need to. So pay minimum payments on credit cards, taxes, whatever it takes. Okay? Because garnishing wages can destroy this plan if you don't go after them and get things taken care of. They can destroy this plan and you won't be able to do this. Okay? So call those companies, call the cities, call whoever is garnishing you, even the state, the Fed, whoever. Call them and figure out a way to get a payment plan started as little as possible. Every single one of them. If it's multiple things, if it's debt collectors, whatever, pay as little as possible, $10, $20. Okay? Because you're never going to appease them with the entire amount unless you can do a lump sum. So pay your debt and garnish wages and take care of the garnished wages. That's one thing. Okay. So future me is back. I messed up. So on number 4 here, we're going to throw in another part of this 4th step. You got to figure out what you're doing to survive. So live with friends. / family. Don't take advantage of them, but you've got to save money somehow. You live with a roommate, whatever it takes, cheap rent, live with friends or family. You got to have a way to get ahead. And it's very, very, very hard to do if you're on your own. So if you're with a girlfriend, boyfriend, but you have to be of like-mindedness about this. They have to understand your debt. You can't put your debt on them. They can't put their debt on you. You have to be responsible for your actions and responsible for your debts. So don't put that on anybody else, but try to live as cheaply as you can with friends, family, roommate. Okay, that's part of step 4. I just had to shoehorn that in there, and I forgot to put it in a step. I don't script my videos, so this is what you get when you don't script. You look like an idiot. Anyway, back to past me. All right, so this is still that same step with the garnished wages. So we're making minimum payments on all those all those things you owe money on. We're gonna do lump sum payments. On smallest debt. This is the Ramsey style, and it works. You do lump sum payments. So you're going to have your small garnish. So we've got garnish with G, and let's say you're paying garnish wages of $100 a month. And then you're going to do lumps, L's, of like $500, whatever you can afford with your budget. Okay? You're going to pay quickly on whatever your smallest debt is. It's called snowballing. And a lot of people like it. Some people have comments about it, but for what it's worth, it's progress in any direction, and that's what's important. And there's a whole lot of methods out there, and I'm not going to discourage anybody from using their methods if it works. So let's just say you're putting $500 towards a 5K loan. You know, do your math. Whoops. Do your math. 5K loan at $500, 10 months. You just got out from under that in 10 months. And you're doing minimum payments and all your other things. Let's add that. M's for like credit cards if they're not in collections, not garnishings. So you've got your minimums, your lumps, your garnishing, your lumps, and your minimums. And those could be, credit cards, and they're like, let's just say the average person has like 3 credit cards, and it ends up being like $150 of minimum payment. That's awful, man. I need a drawing tablet if I'm going to do this for real. Okay. So you've got your garnishment, you got your lump sum, and you got your minimum payment. Let's hope you don't have more than that, but if you do, whatever. So you need to make $750 just to cover the normal horse shit to get your debt in a good spot. Okay? That's for a 10-month plan just to take one bill off of your record. You can see how long this is going to take. It's going to take years. It took me about 8 years to get out of my position I was in, but whatever. It's all part of the thing. So we're snowballing. Oops. Snowballing the debt. Bigger, bigger, bigger. So you go from the smallest to the second to the third to the fourth. And then once you get to that fourth, let's say this is your last bill, you're free and clear. That's step 7. You're out of debt. 7 means we can start doing fun stuff, investing. Okay? And that can look like a lot of different things. What did I just spell? Oh, there we go. So investing can look like a lot of different things. That can be like 401k. It can be like IRAs. It can be, well, IRAs are nice because you can avoid taxes. Depending on your situation, you can put money into them tax free. And then they gain a certain percentage over the course of like 10 years. So it takes a long time to gain money, but it's like guaranteed money, right? 10 years at like 5%. 401k, sometimes you can get with a company that does like 100% match. Do it. 100% match. It's free money. Put your money into that 401k. Make it happen. Okay? That looks awful. I can barely read my own handwriting. So investing, 401k. And then you can do stuff like Acorn. But you got to be careful. Low risk. Low risk Acorn. Until you get your feet wet and you understand what you're doing. Okay? So now we're having fun. We're investing. We're putting money into IRAs. We're putting money into our 401k for retirement, because retirement is not a dirty word and you can retire if you work hard enough. And then we're doing stuff like Acorn, or you can talk to a professional stockbroker and do things the right way. Acorn, you can still make money, but you're on your own and you got to follow market trends on your own. It's fun and I've made money doing it, but I've lost a lot of money too. So it is what it is. You got to understand the risks you're taking. So then we're going to go to our 8th step, or actually we'll continue 7 a little bit. There's a couple more things I want to talk about with 7. With 7, we're investing, right? We already talked about all the investments. We are branching out into things like business opportunities at this point. Rentals, buying a rental if you have enough money. Home ownership. Home ownership. Okay. Now, when it comes to home ownership, you need to think about things in the perspective of what your credit looks like. If you can't afford a big home, don't. Okay? Just go with what you can afford. And a lot of people will put that maximum mortgage payment, because most people can't afford to buy a house with cash or with a check. So you have to look at things from the perspective of, if the worst happens, can you still sustain your quality of life? So buy a cheap house. Cheap, but something you can get a return on. Because if you buy a piece of crap house that's not worth anything and it's just going to be bulldozed, then you just wasted your money. Cheap, but something you can get a return on. Now that we're making money, we're comfortable, we're happy, we can go to step 8. And 8 is going to be continuing a debt-free lifestyle, because you're going to buy things and have to pay them off. So we're keeping, this is just kind of the plan of what we're doing. We're keeping that 10K, but we're going to bump it up with 20 more K. We got 30K of emergency fund. $30K emergency fund. We don't touch it. If we have to buy a car, we buy an affordable car with a big down payment and low APRs only. We're talking like, don't buy anything unless you can get like 6%. There's people that get like 14%. They get like 20%. You're nuts. If you can't get a low APR, buy with cash. That just depends on your credit. If you can't get a low APR, because APR, what people don't understand about APR is it is so terrible. What it does is it takes, here, I'll show you something here. Say you, okay, we'll just use whatever, let's do this here. Let's say you bought a $35,000 car, Florida, whatever. Sales tax in Florida, registration fees, down payment of $10,000. Include that in the loan. Incentives, interest rate 11.8% for a used car. So let's just split it somewhere in the middle and just call it like. So this is about the point where I muted my microphone because I hit my hotkey and I'm an idiot. So I'm gonna try to paraphrase what I was talking about. So basically what I was getting at is that if you had a $35,000 loan for a car, you end up paying about $4,000 of APR. A lot of people don't understand what APR is. So the faster you pay off that interest and the more you put towards your principal, the faster you pay off the car. Stay away from big APRs, yada, yada, yada. That's pretty much where my point was. Try to buy stuff with cash. So we'll just paraphrase that point and I'll keep moving on. Okay, so I guess I was talking about low APRs for new cars, and used cars are going to have higher APRs, but that's not a bad thing if you're putting big down payments down. And if you can buy with cash, just pay cash or check. You can't buy cars with cash anymore because of the mob days. All right, so step 9, we're saving money. We're putting more into investments. We're snowballing investments now instead of snowballing debt. So our investments are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. We're paying off our house. We're paying off all cars. And then we're at a good point in life right now at step 9. Then we can go out, we can have fun, we can have vacations, we can have a nice car that we have no payment on because we are at a point in life where we've got expendable income. But we still don't touch our emergency funds, we don't touch our 401ks, we don't touch our IRAs. We do not take that money out. That is one of the dumbest things I see people do is tap into their 401ks and their retirement funds, whatever, and gut their futures because they take so much of a hit in taxes to pull that money out before it's matured. Don't do it. It is the dumbest thing you can do. It's so stupid. People buy houses with that stuff and then, they have to rebuild their retirement fund from scratch at, 35, 40 years old. It's insanity. I've seen people do it. People in my own family have cashed in their retirement to buy a house when they were in their 60s. And now they're destitute, had to sell the house and move into an apartment. It's stupid. Stupid. I come from a long line of people making stupid decisions. Just take it from me. Okay, so we move on to step 10. Step 10, we are getting later in life. We're in our 50s. We are in our 60s. We are moving towards our 70s. We will retire because we have spent the time, we spent the money, we have managed our money. We are managing our rental properties, which I highly recommend buying real estate as soon as you can afford it, especially high quality real estate that will appreciate in value instead of depreciate. You can relax. You can do fun things even more than you could. And you have to be careful at this stage as well, because you don't want to outlive your retirement fund. The only thing you have at this stage for your money is what you have earned. And I specify earned because saved does not include anything that's passive income, like interest, IRAs, all that kind of stuff. So if you have passive income coming in from businesses or interest from investments or whatever, that has to be accounted in what you can live on. So my point is to always have your emergency funds, and you can increase them to whatever you want them to be, $100,000, $200,000, but focus on only living within your means, but still having fun. You can still have vacations. Just budget for your vacations. It's not that hard to do. People act like, I can spend like 10 grand on a vacation. No, you cannot. No, you cannot spend 10 grand on a vacation. What you will do is you will get, rent an Airbnb in a nice location and drive yourself there. Don't fly because it costs too much, and buy your food and bring it in a cooler and bring your family and split the bill. There you go. You took your $4,000 vacation and turned it into a $2,000 vacation. And you can have one of those every single year or multiple times a year with your family or friends, because you split the bill and you build bonds with your family and friends. But that's their point, is that we are living happy. We are happy because we have gone through these struggles, and we can now afford to have fun, real fun with our kids and our family. And we are happy and healthy because we have stopped our addictions to consumerism, to nicotine, to alcohol, to food that is bad for you. We have done this all while improving ourselves and getting out of debt. So these are my 10 steps to get out of debt. A lot of people have a lot of different ways, and I'll never, throw shade at, I will throw shade at this dude because I think his methods are pretty dumb sometimes. In respect for the way he's always bashing on about mental health, I think people need to grab their mental health by the balls and do something about it. And he makes it into this weepy thing where, like, oh, you have to talk to a therapist and this, that, and the other. Like, mother trucker, I didn't talk to no therapist. I became who I am because I just did the work myself. It sucked. I beat my head against the wall. I failed nonstop. No one told me what to do. This is at a time where the internet was pretty young. We didn't have massive YouTube channels, and I had to figure out my crap myself because I put myself in, thousands and thousands of dollars of debt at a very early time in my life because I was living beyond my means and doing risky things. I mean, I had a joint bank account. I had joint credit cards with somebody I shouldn't have trusted. And she took all my money. She racked up a bunch of debt, and I had to pay for it because it was my fault, because we were living off of my good income and my good credit. But it was good for me to go through this because I met my wife. I have 3 kids. I improved myself internally, externally, because I went through the hardship. I suffered. Suffering is important. Too many people, like this dude here, don't want you to suffer. You have to suffer. You have to break yourself in order to become better. And when you're better, you can help other people. Like this video here. Hopefully I can help some people along the way. And don't mistake my tone as condescending or mean. I'm not trying to be mean. This is just me. This is me. I did not have help. I was treated like crap through professional relationships, through personal relationships. I had to make my way through this world with no help. And it made me into a tough person. And sometimes I come off as an asshole. Well, I probably always come off as an asshole. But the point is that that's okay. It's okay because you don't have to like me, but my methods work. It worked for me. It's worked for other people I know. And you can do great things. Just believe in yourself. Like, come on, man and woman and whoever else. Believe in yourself and do something incredible with your life and stop being in debt. Stop being fat, sad, addicted. Stop living a life of misery and start living a life of fun and friendship and relationships with your family and being the best person you can be. Because you get rid of all that shit you don't need. All that trash that slows you down and makes you sluggish and makes you useless. And then you become this freaking chiseled, mentally strong, freaking monster. You are a weapon when you're done. You are a weapon. That's the best part. Once you go through something like this, challenge means nothing to you. It means nothing because you just don't care. You've been through it. Who cares? Throw another challenge on. Joke's on you. I'm into that shit. Okay? This is a movement for not only your financial, but your emotional well-being and your professional well-being because you will just be a freaking weapon. All right. I'm done. See you later.